Well, the beginning of the semester, this is our design build studio. So at the start of the semester, we had a couple weeks to get introduced to the materials and to the power tools, everything. So we spent 2 weeks building toolboxes that we then will now use to work on the big project of the semester, which is our design build of the structure at the Temple University Ambler campus.
Yeah, and to add on to those little toolboxes we created, that was really interesting because that really showed us how when you're building something, things change in your design. And that is something we didn't really get to experience in our other semesters, and that's what makes design build so intriguing is you get to see that next step that sometimes depending in the field you go into, you wouldn't necessarily see.
So the primary goal is to have a space on campus that is educational and for the community, and a major theme of the design is vining plants. So the concept and the inspiration behind the design is how can we create a structure that vining plants can thrive on and that teachers and community can learn about vining plants off of and see the seasonality of it. And so that it was the major beginning influence to the design. And then we go further by introducing design elements that we love from other designers and things that we've learned and bring that into the concept.
And, we're also trying to incorporate this DIY concept, a do-it-yourself kind of element, where we're promoting the idea that you can do this at your own home. So we have things like we're reusing bamboo in our pergola, and we're using pavers that you might find, trash picking, wherever you find it, or on your existing home, how to reuse different things, different materials, or copper pipes if you want to turn that into chimes. We're using bamboo, hopefully to turn it into chimes later on. So yeah, it's kind of a DIY spin-off. That's kind of our flair that we're putting onto it as well. So you get to personalize the project in a cool way.
Okay, so we're on the same team. We have two teams, the ground plane and then the overhead structure. So we are working on the ground plane. So we did the first couple of weeks started just drawing, concept planning, working in the studio, working on paper, and getting a concept that we could then implement on the ground level. So taking those drawings and walking out there and seeing where we need to move what, how, and then making a large task list of taking all of those to-dos and physical elements and how do we make it a whole and start to see it come to life. So we're kind of just ramping up and doing that in the past couple of weeks and moving things around and getting out there.
It was an interesting start getting all these concepts too and talking with each other. It was our first project where we really had to work with each other on a design. We've always done analysis with each other, but we've never designed something with each other. So you really have to, it's like a debate every single class during the concept phase. And, I've never taken a debate club or anything, but I enjoyed it. It was really interesting to hear everybody's point of views, and sometimes you admit you're wrong and it's for the better. And I really enjoyed that part, and it taught me to work better as a team as well. So that was a big part of the beginning phase. And we're still working as a team, of course, constructing, just in a different way. It's more labor intensive now. So we already have it all figured out. It's just about implementing it and getting it done. So. Well, when I decided to come to Temple, it was for two main reasons. It was for the design build, and it was for the opportunity to study abroad, which I'll be doing next fall. I'll be going to Rome 2022. So that's pretty exciting, and I was looking forward to it ever since I came here, talked with my advisor, got it set up from the beginning. But the design build has been evolving, with the tornado and everything on what we're going to do. But the university has made it a point to still give us that design build experience, which I'm very grateful for. But that's something you don't get at many other universities. It's like I said earlier, you do things differently when you're building it than when you're just designing it. I've done things. I learned something every semester with every different professor, but this is something I've never even imagined that I would be doing. So it's really exciting. That's why I chose Temple. So.
Yeah, those are a lot of reasons why I chose Temple as well, because you have each semester is so curated in a focus in the field of landscape architecture that you're getting so many different perspectives of the profession and exercising those skills in like a really highly focused way. And in all the other programs I researched there, Temple stood out because of the design build studio, absolutely, because I think seeing the work to completion and being able to see how the design works in the real world makes a better designer.
Well, we're a living arboretum. Every plant is labeled, every garden has a name. We have a really good history. And, there's a good community here that comes with this arboretum. So you could go on about the benefits and, with landscape architects working working outside. That's something, you'll go into certain firms and you'll be inside all the time. And, that's depends on the person. But here I got a really good outdoor experience, especially with minoring in horticulture. But even without that, you can do a certificate and do a lot of classes outside here. So mainly the arboretum is the big point here. Then all the clubs and events that come with it are very helpful as well. So.
Yep. Having the arboretum has been like instrumental in the learning process, because even when you're doing your, like, for example, the woody plants classes, we have woodies 1 and 2. We're out here like looking and inspecting at every single plant species that we're studying, and I think it's for me as a learner, it's so much more interactive, and it really impacts the way you work with those plants going forward, because you can remember the seasonality of it, and you can remember what it looked like in winter, spring, summer, fall, and that is like a unique experience too. And even post tornado, everyone on campus really like making the event that happened in September a learning experience still, and like everyone's still uncovering like what the changed ecology has been, and there's so much more to learn from it too. So
well, you can't do whatever you want. You have your preferences, but you also have to follow the guidelines in a way that your client asks for. And that is also the same with not just the client, but the site itself. When you're designing something on paper and it's not necessarily going to happen for sure, you kind of can imagine all the sorts of different ideas, but doing it on the field and doing it for a client, you have restrictions it's realistic. You don't always get that in your classes. That's important for a lot of reasons. So yeah, trailed off a little bit, but
it really has been what it would be like out there, because our client, we will meet with the arboretum directors and people from Temple and like Kathy Salisbury and the team of gardeners working here to get that kind of feedback on what we've created. Like, is this going to work? How can we do it better? And then we get to bring it right back to the design process and fix it up, and hopefully cater the design to what everyone on campus would want to see and use. So it moves very quickly, and which is great. Like, you have a feedback day and you go back right away and start working on everything to make adjustments for it, and then to be able to see it come to life is like pretty extraordinary, and it's been a great process.
To add on to that, it's kind of interesting how our client is also, they know what we're talking about. Not necessarily in the real world, you don't always get a client that, runs an arboretum or works in the gardens. They don't always have the level of understanding that our client here has. So not only do we have those restrictions or opinions from the clients, but we also have their professional guidance and advice on how to do it. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like we're all like really grateful for the experience to be able to have such an impact and interaction with the campus. It's like very unique, and it has been very rewarding so far. And I think after we complete the project, I just love that it's going to be used for education, and it's going to take on kind of a life of its own in the future, with other design build studios maybe wanting to add to it, or continue to add to the planting design of it and see it become like a living garden like the others on campus. Very special.